Hey everyone, welcome to Crime Weekly News. I'm Derek Levasseur.
And I'm Stephanie Harlow.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the case of Athena Strand. We had covered this case a while back. It was very quick. We were just mentioning it at the top of a show. Really tragic case that happened in Texas. I'm going to let Stephanie kind of go over the bullet points, the details. It just happened very recently. There's been some developments, but there was some recent news about it, and we wanted to cover it and talk about it tonight.
Yeah, I've actually avoided talking about this case here on Crime Weekly and on my own channel just because it's a tough one and it's tragic. And I have a daughter about this age, so it hits very close to home, as so many of these do. But 7-year-old Athena Strand vanished from her home in Paradise, Texas on Wednesday, November 30th, 2022, so just this past holiday season. She'd actually gotten off the school bus around 4:30 p.m. She was last seen around 5:40 p.m. She had a fight with her stepmother. I think the stepmother thought that she went to her room, but an hour later, when the stepmother went to Athena's room to call her for dinner, she found that the little girl wasn't there. Her family insisted that Athena wouldn't wander off on her own. She was reported missing by 6:40 p.m. and an Amber Alert went out the next day. Now, for the next 2 days, law enforcement and hundreds of volunteers searched the area trying to find her, but there really was no luck finding her. And it actually took a police investigation to discover that FedEx had actually delivered a package to Athena's home around the time that Athena went missing. So the police kind of took that as a lead, which was very smart of them to do. And they were able to work with employees from Big Topspin. So Big Topspin is a contracting company that basically delivers packages for FedEx. So it's not like technically FedEx, but they're just like subcontracted to deliver packages for them. This was November 30th. It's like Black Friday time, the holiday time. So there's tons and tons of packages going out. FedEx does it. I know Amazon gets.
Yep, Amazon,
yeah.
Everybody does it.
So you never really know, like, if it's not an Amazon truck, it's just like a box truck. They're a subcontractor. But they actually.
Wait, real quick, by the way, hate that. I know it's logistics. They have to do it. Absolutely hate it. Not even because of this case, of course, but you really have no idea who's coming to your doors anymore. Sometimes I've had Amazon packages delivered by someone in their personal
car.
vehicle.
Yeah.
And they're walking up to your door. There's a Ring doorbell. And even if I'm like, who the hell is this at my door right now? Sometimes they'll have the vest on. Sometimes they don't. But they gotta find a better system. Maybe some magnets that they got to put on their cars or their vans, specific uniforms, because we live in a day and age where, yeah, people want their packages, but it's going to create an opportunity for criminals to disguise themselves as delivery drivers. And you could have home invasions, robberies, things like that, where people are opening their doors, especially elderly people are opening their doors to these individuals, not knowing that they have some type of malicious intent. I really don't like the direction this is going. It's a little bit of a side note because it doesn't really matter in this case. It wasn't someone disguising themselves as someone different, but you will see more of those types of cases if this behavior continues. They got to have more continuity between the different types of driving companies, the delivery companies, because I don't like not knowing who's showing up at my door.
Well, it's kind of like police officers. Like, you don't want to pull over for an unmarked car, right? Who just has like one of those,
drive to your house
who's
when an
one of
unmarked
those
car is
lights
following you
on the top of his car. Just because of that, you think it's a cop, but like you have somebody coming to your house and coming to your door, and you might open your door for that person, so you want to make sure that that person's legit. I completely understand.
Right. And did you hear what I said there? You don't want to like drive to your house with the unmarked car following you.
What else was I supposed to do?
And by the way, what would you do? Just like run to your door at that point? Just get out of the car and run before they park?
No, I just figure like I'm home now, so you're intimidated because it's my home turf, like home field advantage, you know? And I do have maybe like something in my, like a tire iron or something in my garage that I can run and wield.
And like bow and arrow systems that pop up out of the ground when you hit a button and it just like shoots.
That is being installed as we speak, actually.
That's installed. Yeah, no, and not to make light of it, but I do, it's not relevant to this case, but it's something where I see it and I can't help but I go into cop mode where I'm like, that is a recipe for disaster. And maybe if it's not even being delivered to my house, but I'll see someone delivering to the house next to us and I'm like, who's this person? Because all my neighbors are very cool with each other. And I'm like, who the hell is this going up to their door? They're kind of looking around. You don't know who's who. You don't know if they're a delivery driver or there's someone trying to break into the home, it's not good.
Well, the thing is, too, these people are usually seasonal, so it's not as
That's
if
right.
they're
Yeah.
working for Amazon or FedEx full time. It's just like, hey, we need you for like a month or two. And they'd be hiring anybody. They're like, who wants
Yeah.
to do it? And anybody that shows up, they're like, all right, here's your keys, go deliver packages. So there's not a lot of like checking into it. The person's not as like devoted to this job. And I do believe this was the case with the culprit in this case as well. He just seemed to kind of be like he was an Uber driver sometimes and he was doing this sometimes. It wasn't like he was a full-time FedEx employee, that this is what he does every day, all year round.
And by the way, not only for delivery drivers for like packages, but I'm even saying for like DoorDash and Uber Eats, there's too many people walking up to houses. They're in plain clothes. DoorDash, Uber Eats. I'm sure nobody executive is watching this, but if you are, we got to get some type of vest or magnetized sign that goes on the cars while they're on duty hours, so that if you see someone pull up, you know who it is. Whether it's not going to cost you much, it's going to cut into the margins a little bit, but for safety reasons, I think everyone should have distinguishable signs and vests on where we know who they are as they're getting out of the car.
A DoorDash driver came to my door the other day, had 3 other people in the car with him. That was weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, my food was in there. Like, I don't know who they are. Like, I have your name and DoorDash has your name. But if somebody tampers with my food while it's in your car, I don't know who Joe, Jack, and John is in your car. It could be anybody. And now I'm poisoned or somebody spit in my food and I don't know where it came from. And I have nobody to blame.
Side note, when I was a cop, I think maybe I told you the story, but we had this saying internally where it's like, if you ordered your food like at the window, whether it was McDonald's or Burger King, as a cop, you just assume your food got spit in. So you just kind of accept it because you just never know. It's the truth. Like when you pull up, we normally as a cop, you don't want to order your food from the window. You always want to go in and try to have a view of it. But if you order it, you just like, meh, it's all right. It is what it is at this point.
Damn.
I used to call in with fake names for my pizza. I would be like, oh, it's Joe. And then I would like not tell them like it was for CFPD. So I would just go pick it up. And when I walked in, they'd be like, damn it, we didn't know it was for him. But it's already made at that point. I'm like, that's my box right there.
I just feel like at a lot of McDonald's, if you're there late night, assume your food's getting spit into,
Probably. Yeah, I just so at this point, I just assume my food, even though I'm not a cop anymore, I'm just like, probably got a little something extra in there.
All right, let's move on because now I don't eat at McDonald's except for French fries, and we're bantering a little bit because this case is so hard and I really don't want to like dive into the details of this. However, I am pleased with the way the case has gone. With the way justice is being served at this point, but we'll get there. So Big Topspin is like the contracting company. And so the police were able to work with the employees from Big Topspin and they found out which van had made the delivery to Athena's house. And then it was discovered that this van actually had recording equipment in it. And there was an FBI agent who viewed the videos and it was discovered, surprise, surprise, the driver of this van had taken Athena. So 2 days later, on Friday, December 1st, police confirmed Athena's body had been found along the Trinity River, which is northwest of Fort Worth, about 11 or 12 miles from Athena's home. Once again, it depends on the article you read. I couldn't believe how many different distances I was getting. One article said it was only 6 miles from her home. Doesn't matter. This poor girl was taken. And then she was murdered by this delivery guy, 31-year-old Tanner Horner. The police had taken him into custody. He'd confessed. Apparently, he had told them 3 different locations she could be in. I'm not sure if he did that to be an asshole or because he just couldn't remember. I don't know, but they found her body and they believed that she was dead within an hour of her abduction. So Tanner Horner was a lot of things, or is a lot of things. He's still alive, unfortunately. He was a FedEx driver. He was an aspiring musician, a singer in a local band, and he lived with his grandmother and mother in West Fort Worth. He was also engaged to be married, and it appears that he had a child in 2021, so just about a year before he committed this crime. But he didn't have any criminal record previously, and he didn't appear to have any connections to Athena's family. Now, when I say he didn't have a criminal record previously, it's complicated. We're going to talk about it. So Horner was indicted on February 16th, 2023, and he was charged with aggravated kidnapping and capital murder of a person under the age of 10. And the very next day, the Wise County DA, James Stainton, gave his notice that he intends to seek the death penalty. And let me give you a standing ovation, Mr. Stainton, because if anybody deserves it, this dude does.
Absolutely. And I know we can have a deeper conversation at some point as far as there are people out there, justifiably so. We've talked about this before where the court will see, or the prosecution will seek the death penalty. And we've had situations where someone has been executed and they were wrongfully convicted. And I said it before, I'll say it again. For me, if there's overwhelming evidence coupled with a confession, then I'm all for the death penalty. If there's just a confession and really no tangible evidence to support it, I'm not, because we have had situations where you get false confessions based on duress, based on the situation they're in. So it's a case-by-case basis for me. But I do think if it's overwhelming, if there's no doubt that this person did it, then DNA, whatever it might be, something like that.
Where he led them to her body, maybe?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, exactly. A mountain of evidence, then absolutely that person needs to be wiped off the planet, save the jail some money, and do everyone a favor and get this guy out of here. So we're all for it. Obviously, again, it's not a blanket statement, but if there's overwhelming evidence that it's no doubt who did it, and then I think that this is the right course of action.
Yeah, I cannot even stand to think that this person continues to breathe air, honestly, because it's like, should the motive matter? No, the motive shouldn't matter. But the motive that this dude says he had is absolutely bizarre. And I don't completely 100% believe him. And for a long time, they didn't even say what the motive was. Like, we just kind of would assume here and there. And there were some news outlets saying like, oh, she had been sexually abused and things like that. So we didn't have any official motive. But it has recently been reported that Horner told the police that what happened was he was backing up his FedEx truck. He accidentally hit Athena. And even though she wasn't seriously injured, he panicked, didn't know what to do. So he put her in the van and then intentionally caused her death by strangling her and or smothering her in the back of the van. Actually, first he attempted to break her neck to kill her. And then that didn't work. So he had to strangle her with his bare hands. And he said he did this because she was going to tell her father about him hitting her with the van, even though she wasn't seriously injured. And Horner told police that when he had her in his van, she was alive, she was talking to him, and she told him what her name was. So I don't believe him, honestly. But the autopsy showed that Athena died from blunt force injuries and strangulation. However, there was no evidence of sexual assault. So I don't really know what his motive is, because you'd think initially when I heard, oh, he said he backed up into her, I was like, that's bullshit. He grabbed her so he could sexually assault her, and then he killed her because he didn't want her to tell anybody. I don't believe that he just accidentally backed into her and then decided he had to kill her or she was going to tell somebody. Like, that's stupid. Why would you like accidentally hit a child with your car and then she's fine, not dead, not seriously injured, and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to be in trouble for this. Let me just kill her instead. Like, who in their right damn minds would think that or say that? So there's something else going on here. And it does turn out like that on December 20th, 2022, Horner was charged with 3 counts of sexual assault of a child. And these charges actually came out of Tarrant County, but they appear to be unrelated to Athena. And I read some articles where it said it was 3 separate children that he had sexually abused. I don't know. That hasn't been confirmed. But he definitely was charged with 3 counts of sexual abuse of a child in December of 2022. So was his plan to try and sexually assault her and she fought back and he freaked out and then he killed her? There's no damn way he just backed into her, said, oh no, I don't want you to tell anybody. So instead I'll murder you because that's going to look better for me in the end. You know, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, overall, I agree with everything you said as far as it's tough to think about as far as what actually happened, but I agree with your assessment as far as motive. I think it makes no sense that you would escalate to that level where you accidentally hit someone. You're looking at worst case scenario, you're getting fired. Worst case scenario,
Right.
you're getting fired from your job. But to escalate it to that all because you were nervous that she was going to tell her dad without knowing what the repercussions would have been, seems like a stretch. But you will have this happen a lot of times when you have a confession. You'll have an admission of certain things, but then a justification for it to try to soften the blow, which I never understand. You're admitting to murder, but then you're trying to justify it with a shitty excuse. It doesn't really make sense, but that kind of is par for the course because we're talking about someone who killed a young child. So what really makes sense at that point? You were asking me earlier when we were talking about what we're going to cover on Crime Weekly, and this was one that we both said, oh, we really don't want to cover this. We really don't.
Mm-mm.
And in fact, this case will probably get demonetized, which we don't care. And the reason we don't care is because there's something that everyone can take from this. Parent, not parent, there's a lesson to be taken from this, because a lot on Crime Weekly, we talk about situations where you can better protect yourself by being more cognizant of your surroundings, because most of the time these monsters are amongst us and they're signs that they are who we think they are. In other cases, you have individuals who may have something that starts as a kink or a fetish and really has never planned anything out. There might not be no premeditation, but if an opportunity presents themselves, they might not be able to hold it back. And I feel like in this situation, this guy, Horner, was a sicko from the beginning, had never really been given an opportunity to take advantage of something like this, or there wasn't a spot where he felt like he could get away with it. I personally believe that he was delivering a package. Athena came outside.
That she had gotten in a fight with her stepmother, so she ran outside and...
That's it. And I think he just saw this opportunity that he's thought about and was like, you know what? Here's my chance. So the lesson that can be taken from this as parents, as just individuals, because it could happen to an adult too, is even when you feel like you're aware of the people around you, and we talked about it from this angle when we covered it on Crime Weekly briefly, everyone could be a potential person that you got to be wary of. And I was covering at the beginning when I'm saying about DoorDash drivers, and this isn't to target any specific profession. Could be anybody. Could be a cop in uniform. We've had cases like that too, where a woman gets approached by a guy in a vehicle. He has a fake uniform on. He ends up killing her. So just be aware, whether it's for yourself or someone you care about, that it could happen anywhere. And it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing where there were signs from a vehicle that had been seen in your area multiple times. All it takes is a second. I know it's scary to think about, but all it takes is 1 second, and your life can be changed forever. I practice what I preach. I promise you. We have multiple times where my daughters are 10 and 7, and I'll go into like the UPS store to go to my post PO box. I can see them from the truck. I can see them, but I will not allow them, call me crazy, to sit in the truck while I go inside. Why is that? Well, there's going to be at least a couple seconds where I'm going to turn towards the clerk to pay them or drop off the package, and that's all it takes. And I can't get that back. And I'm just not willing to risk it. In fact, don't know how you feel about Ryan Reynolds, but if you haven't, maybe you've seen the movie, Stephanie, Captive with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I love the movie, but it's kind of a story like this where he goes into a store for a second, his daughter's in the back seat laying down, and I won't spoil it for you, but it's something similar. It always stuck with me. So the lesson here is 2 things. 1, you may not agree with us, but Stephanie and I are all for this. If it turns out that all of this is true, this guy did what we think he did, there's evidence to support it, coupled with a confession. Bye. See you later. If you guys are offended by that, sorry, we're going to stay true to who we are. No use for him. And to be honest with you, you're doing him a favor, because if he goes to prison, it's going to be way worse for him, because that's one thing that other prisoners will not tolerate. And the second note that we can all agree on is just to be more careful out there.
Honestly, can I stop for a second?
Yeah.
How would he die in the state of Texas? Lethal injection?
Yeah.
It's too kind for him. It is absolutely too kind for him. I want him to suffer. I want somebody to try and break his neck. Because imagine, he said he tried to break her neck first. How bad do you think that hurt her? Look at this little girl.
I don't even want to talk about it.
She's beautiful. She's adorable. The epitome of like innocence. Just this cute little girl, never hurt anybody in her life. And this dude out of nowhere just decides he's going to grab her from the safety of her yard, try to break her neck, Okay, that probably hurt. And then strangle her to death. So he needs to have somebody bigger than him, stronger than him, try to repeatedly break his neck and then strangle him slowly to death until every breath has left his body. And all he can see in front of him is a picture of Athena, because this dude needs to die and needs to die quick. And it's a capital murder case, so it's going to take like 18 months, maybe even longer, maybe even 2 years. But I'm going to count down the days. I'm going to count down the days. And I might even go and stand outside death row and wait for this motherfucker to be dead and his heart to stop so that I can set off those little like party balloons. I don't care. I will celebrate the shit out of this man's death. And I'm not ashamed of it. And I don't apologize for it. And if you try to make me feel shame for it, then you have to ask yourself what's wrong with you. Okay, that's all.
You're not going to get it from me.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. You're not going to get it from me. And I know that won't sit well with everyone, but I'm on exactly the same page. But I think, again, to just reiterate, there are Tanner Horners everywhere. Does that scare you? Good, because it should. And if there's not any of those individuals in your area, well, then all you're doing is being safe and you don't have to worry about it at the end of the day. So, yeah, I know it's scary to think about it. We're not here to have you leaving these episodes feeling bad, but we want you to be informed. And ultimately, we want you to be safe. That's most important. So if you take that from this and it kind of makes you a little bit more apprehensive and a little bit more aware of your surroundings, especially if you have children, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, man.
I don't mind scaring you a little bit if we're running through your head.
I see people go out in like public places, like really busy places, and they have like their purse and they're like clutching their purse, because they don't want somebody to come and snatch their purse. But their freaking kid's trailing behind them 6 feet. Wait, treat your freaking kid like your purse, okay? Like if you're in public and you don't want your kid to get snatched, because there are people out there who are waiting for kids to be trailing behind you 6 feet, make sure you clutch your kid to you when you're in a busy public place. And I mean, look at Athena. She's outside her house, man. It's like nowhere is safe. Worst part. This is like, it's overwhelming. And I understand it's scary, but like it doesn't have to be anxiety inducing. It just has to be like, this is what I do with my kids. This is what I do with the things that are valuable to me. I protect them. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's all something for Crime Weekly and Crime Weekly News. It's like you said, it's not supposed to give you anxiety. It's just tools in the toolbox, right? All these cases are material that you're getting to learn about potential scenarios so that you're better prepared for them. That's all it is. It's tools you're gaining knowledge. You're learning about what's out there. Thankfully, not by your own experience, and you're getting to understand what's going on in the world, even if it hasn't happened to you. And so that's how you got to look at this. Just don't become some person who, some recluse that refuses to leave your home. It's not that serious. There is a way
I feel called
to
out.
Go out there and there is a way. She's like, she feels attacked. There is a way to live your life, but just do it safely and to better protect it. And there's no guarantees, but having this knowledge, I do think will benefit you, because as police officers, the one fortunate thing that I got was seeing these things happen to other people, so that when I went home to my family, I was better equipped to address those situations and to conduct myself when I'm out in public. And I hope that's what you guys get out of it as well, because I'd rather you get a little scared hearing it from us than experiencing like something like this yourself, because there's no going back.
Thank you. Exactly. So we're going to wrap this up.
That's right.
I want everybody to think about Athena, think about what was lost to this world because of her. And, hopefully this person, I do believe, and I think they probably have proof that what he's saying is not true. I think that this whole backing into her and this and that, they got security cameras. It's 2022 when this happens, right? There's security cameras. Everybody's got Ring doorbells. There's a camera in his van. I'm sure that they're going to be able to prove that that wasn't what happened, because they seem very sure. They did call it a crime of opportunity, similar to what you said, Derek, when you said, I think there was just an opportunity for him. They called it a crime of opportunity. That means they think that he seized this opportunity, and
that's it.
And they're not gonna back off. And I will be rooting for him to be found absolutely guilty. But until next time, we will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being here, and stay safe out there.
Night.
Bye.